Can you hear me now? Now I'm sure the microphone works. Sibyllus. Uh, but Hans is the only one here. So it's just me and Hans tonight. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I'm freaking out. Okay. All right. Oh my God. I had AC/DC going. Good to see you all. Hans, Ray, Christopher, Alexia, Joshua, Ron, Pizza Giraffe. Hello. Normally I don't ever have a problem being heard because I'm so damn loud, but when you set up the stream, I have the microphone and the camera picked. And it's the Yeti microphone is by default. So I adjusted the camera. I didn't have the camera, but my laptop has been used for other purposes, and therefore the default wasn't selected, and I had to go and just set it back up again. But whatever, that's how we make the sausage, or sausage. That's how the Teamsters said sausage. Sausage. You're getting some vernaculars. Anyway, at first I forgot it was Monday. I try to forget it's Monday. What if we all said we couldn't hear him again? Well, I think then I'll just do whatever. The Purple Man sucked. Yes. I have Manos is here. All right, Mark. With the ball busted. He's busting my haggins. Because what Mark said was, this is better, or is it? It might have been okay for some section of the population if I couldn't be heard. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the Purple Man, purple dude, whatever. But to do that, I have to kill the pain. To be honest with you, I got to kill the pain, wash some of those memories away, so I can talk, so I can get some distance, some buffer. Happy Monday, Jason. Oh, Purple Man, like the singer. I forgot his name. Prince. No, Prince. You can't. Prince is infallible. He's like the Pope. He's infallible. You can't besmirch Prince. You can't. Not to me. He can do no wrong. If he was the Purple Man and the book was about him, it'd have been a million times better. Fried Chismar livers. Oh, John Doe's here. He came out of the morgue with the toe tag still on his toe. John Doe. 90% done with Swan Song. I'm a slow reader, still loving. You're not a slower reader than I am. I guarantee that. Chimar Jr. couldn't come up with a better title than ripping off a Marvel villain name. That's funny. Hey, Patty's good to see you. It's good to see you. What up? Kyle's here. He did a drum cover. I just saw it. I don't remember what it was, but it just popped up. I'm like, oh, I got to give that a listen. Kyle Davis. Great stuff. I read it today. It was amazingly bad. Everything you said was correct. So the Purple Man is the name of a villain in Marvel Comics universe. He wears a purple trench coat and hat and has the power to suggest people do things. He was in the Daredevil show. Was he? No, I think you're thinking, Hans, was he in the Daredevil? I don't think he was in Daredevil. He was in Jessica Jones. That was awesome. That first season of Jessica Jones was awesome. I'm going to get to the bucket. Numb the pain. What have you got for me? A White Russian, man. So it's going to be fun to watch because this has a bigger ABV than, a beer. Mitch is telling me to get a kegerator, and he'll give me a keg of Jeff Ward Stout. Unfortunately, kegerators are about $800 because I'm like, damn, we're getting one. I'm going to put it right in the office. Better yet, I'll have an IV drip, and I'll just take it, I'll have a little straw, and I don't want that in my veins. I want to taste it. Kegerator. Good evening. Number one can hear me now. She's had me. She said, shut up, Jeff. My bad, the Jessica Jones show. Yeah. What's he unboxing? Would it be? Well, I don't know. Shut up and see. But he was in an issue of Daredevil. Okay. I really didn't like the morgue. It was a bit too cold. Yeah, I mean, it's a little cold, but you got your own drawer, you know? Hopefully. Wrong, Hans. Mr. Purple was, yeah, okay. Everybody's correcting Hans. Stephen Dwayne Nelson Jr. comes out the gate with a correction, and he's saying hi. Okay, so we can jump in to this. This is the Mr. Purple we were referring to. If you didn't see my rant, oh, look at that. What does that do to the color? Oh, that changed the whole color of the show. Look at that. Mr. Purple. It gives a tint. It makes everything green. Wow. So if you didn't see my unboxing and review of this, I'm kind of shocked. Mark is saying it's amazingly bad. I really was giving it its best read. I really was. I'm like, okay, this reads like garbage. Maybe it'll get better. It really was like not good. It's basically this guy is testing he's a beta game. He's a beta tester for a game. So he's been asked to test this horror game, and he tests it, and basically the horror game starts where somebody's in the crapper in a public toilet and has to get out of the bathroom and has to complete tasks like wash your hands. And then after you wash your hands, buy a book and then get home safely. And he has to wash his hands. So there's graffiti in the bathroom that shows what Mr. Purple looks like. And it's like, oh, that's weird. Then he goes to wash his hands, and then he has to go into a bookstore to buy a book. A video game that the command is to buy a book is just laughable. I know there are quests in games, and I'm sure there's some role-playing game, RPG out there, where you have to find a magical, mystical book. But this was just like, buy any book out of this goddamn bookstore that had only 8 titles to choose from. One of them was a King title, of course, right? Am I right? I mean, the chiz is gonna want to know who his daddy's daddy is, not grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Not his grandfather, not his father's father, his daddy's daddy. You know what I'm making innuendo. So he has to give a nod to his daddy's daddy. And he does with Everything's Eventual. So he goes in there and he buys the book, and it really is mean. I feel like a bully because this person, Chismar, wrote a story and he's probably very proud of it and he's happy it's in the world. And here comes big old mean bastard nobody out of Chicago, right? To bash the book and make it brutal. But you know what? When you get on the stage at Madison Square Garden and you don't play according to that headlining sort of, you're going to get booed off stage, is what I'm saying. And you deservedly so. If your daddy got you a gig that established bands had been dying to get, and you just kind of just get your day in the limelight and you don't earn it, you don't, okay, you know what? Your privilege, your legacy got you here. Now you have to do something with it. Well, he didn't do anything with it. It was an awful story. Wasn't scary. If you have a story where you're saying, the main character's name is Ben. Ben was terrified. All right, those 3 words don't make the reader terrified. They don't make them sympathize. They don't make them feel it. You got to feel it. You got to say like you, I'm not going to write it here, but you have to explain why is Ben terrified? And then how does it feel? Like Ben was terrified is garbage. Ben could not breathe. Like Ben had the air was crushed out of his lungs, or vulnerable, and like give the physical sensation of why Ben, what does it feel like to be Ben in that moment? Baby Chiz doesn't do it. Baby Chiz does not convey any of he doesn't make you believe it. And it's like, okay, well, this is one of those stories. Just like another story I recently DNF'd, another book. you can't just tell me that these things, you got to prove it. You have to make your case. You have to be a storyteller. Persuade the reader. You give the reader all the evidence of these things that are happening. And that evidence isn't just what you told them. It's a disaster. It's a flaming wreck. I'm very disappointed that Brian James Freeman did that. Like, this should have been a bonus chapbook. Like, hey, I know I was only going to do 2 chapbooks a year, but I had an opportunity to do a third one. And, it's a young, up and coming writer. I really think he's got a great career ahead of him. But no, he teased it like, can you guess this artwork? What story goes with this artwork? And people are looking back through their brains over established authors who may tie to that art. What could that story be? And it was a nobody story from a no one. So the tease made the hype, and the hype did not survive upon a reading. And it's super padded. Like, it's loaded with art, and the art takes up the front and the back of the page. So that page there's no text on it. The margins are generous. It's really, if you're an average reader, it's a one sitting read. I'm a slow reader, and I actually was falling asleep the very first part of it. And the thing is, it went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. So the guy, I'm not going to spoil it, but the guy's testing the game, so he's experiencing the game, and you're seeing his reaction to that. And then there's like a jump scare, and then the second half of the book begins, and it's exactly what you think it's going to be. And then it ends like a Bentley Little story. The Bentley Little story, the Circle. I'm not going to say too much. If you're buying this book if you want this chapbook as a collectible from Levidian, like you're a completist, you want all the chapbooks, or you love Glenn Chadbourne art, because actually Glenn Chadbourne tries to save this. He creates images of Mr. Purple that are really creepy and cool. And they do stick closely to the description that's in the chapbook. But so I guess there are reasons you could want this. Levidian Publications there on the back. There may be legitimate reasons to have it, but it can't be because it's a good story. Get it, keep it on a shelf if you must, but don't read it. Don't waste your time. Okay. Speaking of things we've read recently, I read Those Across the River last week. Highly recommend. Okay, that's cool. It's a trash chapbook. Severely disappointed. Yes. Jeff, did you ever read Widow's Point by both Richard and Billy? So I read that. Now, that was back when I was you start out like everybody roots for a comedian when they first walk out on stage. Everybody wants to laugh. I root for an author on the first read of that author. I really want them to do a good job, because my leisure time depends on enjoying whatever they brought. And so when I read Widow's Point, it was a bit cliche. It's a found footage book. And it didn't reinvent anything. It was a fine read. It was just okay. Like, oh, it's creepy. Oh, the one thing I remember was, it takes place in a haunted lighthouse. And so, lighthouses, traditional ones, have that winding staircase that goes all the way up to the light. And, it's kind of creepy. And I think the one thing in that book that I remember is that the guy's losing his mind, and he's recording himself, and he's counting the steps. And every day the steps are there are more. It doesn't seem to end. They keep going on and on and on. And the guy's sort of losing touch with reality. A lighthouse is a very isolated experience, and if you want better fiction based on lighthouse horror, watch The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. That's how you do it, Chizzy Chiz. I saw a clip. They made it to a movie. I don't know who Chizmar knows. Obviously, he's pulling some strings to get his mediocre book made poorly. And then I saw Craig Sheffer's in it, the starring role. And oh my God. But everything about that book was cliche. But, cliches exist because they work, right? You like that haunted lighthouse story. You like that, that creepiness, the loneliness, the sort of that creeping terror. Because here's the thing, nighttime and isolation, those are two places in someone's life where the walls of reality get real thin. You could believe anything if you're isolated. You're like, now the universe has me by myself and nothing can be proved about what happened to me. Some outrageous thing can happen to me and it's very believable. Same thing at nighttime. Those are the times where, if you read a book at night or when you're absolutely by yourself, the suspension of disbelief is tangible. Like you're there, you're between universes almost. So these cliches are effective. They really hit into something primal in human beings. And so I'm like, okay, this is cool. I read it. All right, And then I read Girl on a Porch. So that's a Richie Chismar rant, which was total garbage, an absolute waste of time. And so, and then the whole thing with the goddamn cemetery dance. So I just tapped out. I'm like, forget it. But I wanted to be objective and say, okay, Billy Chismar is his own person. Just like Joe Hill, right? Joe Hill tried to create distance from his father by he didn't do Joe King, which, are you joking? Get it? I don't blame him for not doing that. I would have done Joseph King. Because are you joking? Is like, yeah, I'm joking. All the time. I'm always joking. So he went Joe Hill. He tried to produce, works under his own tile. He's trying to do his own thing, but he can write. I read Horns. He can write. He's got his own talent. So yes, privilege, legacy gets you the spot. Now, what are you going to do with it? He did something with it. Kudos to him. Owen King, not so successful. Despite what Joe Lansdale says, he thought the curator was awesome. I've heard complete opposite from a lot of other people. So, but that's all well and good. I think if you do something with that moment, then the rest is all on you. So I don't think you should value somebody because of who their father is, but you also shouldn't condemn somebody because of who their father is. So I was perfectly willing to give Billy Chismar a chance. Hey, maybe he's a good kid. Maybe he's got a good story in him. And Uncle Brian James Freeman gave him that shot, and we all had to listen to his story, and it was just lame. So that's Widow's Point and all that. So I'm now 70% in a house, sell a haunted house. Really weird. Maybe my least favorite Hendrix, though still a worthy read. Nice. Any clue if Midworld will publish that as well? Oh, are you talking about another? I'm feel like I'll let you guys do that. The Wreck of the Titan is a good book too. We aren't lining up so well lately. Last week we were opposite on Paul Bear's Club. Sounds like we were closer on this one though. Yeah. Hey, Ron's a little mercurial. He's got his own opinions. Ron, you might like Mr. Purple because it has the absurd nothingness of Bentley Little. So maybe you will. And I do encourage everyone to read it on their own if they have it. If you've already got it, might as well. And maybe you're like, oh, okay, you're being a little too hard on it, but I can be a picky reader. I can be, but I don't think there's any way to read this in a satisfying take. I really don't. I like the idea, but it's poorly written and goes absolutely nowhere. Amen. Um, okay, I'm jumping ahead here. Expat Dreamer said something. I'm just digging into Hendrix, and I've been trying to decide if I should read Horror Store. Huh. Yeah, he was. Baby Chiz writes like there is some math problem I'm supposed to solve at the end. Yeah, it is like a word problem. It's like you see Ben is doing this, and it's in it's first person, not first person, it's present tense, omniscient. You see Ben, look at his face. He's scared. It's like, all right. What about his face tells me he's scared? I don't know. I would give an example, but that'd mean I'd have to open that again, and I'm just not going to do that. I liked all of Hendrix except for We Sold Our Souls. My favorite is My Best Friend's Exorcist. I got to read. How to Sell a Haunted House was a little disappointed, but it was okay. In my opinion, all the Hendrix books are worthy, fun reads. That said, Horror Store is in his bottom half for me. Lots of opinions. My Hendrix rankings would be 1, Southern Book Club, Final Girls Support Group, Best Friend's Exorcism, We Sold Our Sores. We sold our sores. Could people sell sores? Horror Stores and Haunted House. Okay. Is it a sort of Five Nights at Freddy's? I wish it was. Greg has to pay his rent just like us. That's funny. I've almost sold book to a publisher a while back. It didn't work out. Oh. And yet Baby Chiz gets a chance. Baby Chiz gets a shot at it. Right up here, sir. Here's a VIP section. Oh, I got to earn it. I got to prove it. It's just, and I'm like, I don't know why Brian James Freeman did that, because it does hurt his credibility. I think Brian James Freeman. Now, I don't know what everybody's opinion is going to be, but so far, nobody's spoken up in favor of this chapbook, even though it just came out. And if it's this bad, nobody's going to want to touch that author again. And if Brian James Freeman does another chapbook with Billy Chismar, that's going to be pathetic then, my opinion. Mitch is here. Hello, Mitch. Nice. I saw the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's and thought, didn't Nicolas Cage already do this film? That's funny. Yeah, Chiz Rants. I was already talking, man. I was talking about Mr. Purple. What a jackass. But you're judging Owen King's success on his published novels, and he has written tons of television scripts. Owen King does very much. I mean, I'm not saying the guy shouldn't be able to afford a burger. I've actually never read anything except Sleeping Beauties, and I liked it. I'm one of the few people who could see the value of that book, even though it was eye-rolling virtue signaling. I mean, just pathetic self-flagellation of men. That was stupid. But when you put that on a shelf, maybe seal it off, put it on a shelf, and read the story, it's a fun ride. What if all the women went to cocoons and went on strike against the men? Like, screw the men. Men are super violent animals. And I'm not going to get into the why of men being violent. I'm not going to not dissect. This isn't a gender studies class by any means. I will say the one thing that was outrageously stupid is that one husband's a bad husband because he bought his wife a pool without asking. Oh, God. Yes, that's right up there with beating your wife and children. Oh, my God. Oh, he didn't say he was sorry for buying a pool. Yeah, sure, it's a big purchase, but the guy in the book is rich. It's like, okay, he thought his wife wanted a pool and he surprised her. What a heinous asshole. Ooh, men need to suffer. So anyway, the premise of the book is interesting. I'd like to see a world where men go into cocoons. Like, let's do the gender studies on the other one. Fine. So that's all I've ever read from Owen King. Half a book, and I don't know what he wrote. Or if he just came up with the premise and Daddy took it from there. I don't know, because it was like a total Stephen King book, in my opinion. So yes, Owen King, I've never read anything by him as a standalone novel. Is he a worthy writer? I don't know. I was intrigued by The Curator. I was interested in the idea, but it just, oh my God. Why didn't you guys tell me I had like a hair? Oh, that's going to bother me on the rewatch. Ugh, I'm disgusted with myself. Here I am talking about authors when I'm just a scumbag. I'm Mitch in secret. Uh-oh. She sells sore souls by the river Styx shore. Like that. Pizza Giraffe spilling the tea on the Mitch. I seriously doubt this chapbook instilled a lot of desire in new folks to join the $10 Patreon level. That's what somebody said in the video. I'm glad I stayed at the $5 level. It's like, it's a misstep, right? I don't know why BJF did it. I really wish he didn't. But it's his Patreon. If you want to call it a strike one, fine. It's a misstep. But yeah, it does ding confidence in the value. I will say he did a lot for this. Okay, I'm going to take it out. He did a lot for this chapbook. You know, it's well done. It's thick, and it has a lot of Mr. Purple art in there. That's Mr. Purple. Hi, everybody. Hello, boys and girls. My name is Mr. Purple. I will say one thing. Okay. How Mr. Purple is described in the book, Billy really goes out of his way to talk about the shape of Mr. Purple's head and how it looks like a certain thing. And I'm like, okay, man, you seem to have some sort of fixation with Mr. Purple. Is this some like inside frat joke that Billy was playing on everyone? I'm going to write a book about Mr. Purple, if you know what I mean. Oh, look out for one-eyed Mr. Purple. Now that I'm thinking about it, let's get another look at that guy. Oh, this is the main character being bored at his computer, just like the reader is being bored at reading about him at his computer. So I didn't even realize this. This is just a big dick joke. Really? One-eyed Mr. Purple. There it is. There it is. It's like frat boy humor, a big joke played on us by Billy Chiz. There it is. I didn't even realize. I cracked the code for you guys. That's what Mr. Purple is. It doesn't say it explicitly, but you know what? It's just what a privileged little bitch boy would do, right? I'm just going to publish this thing, and it's going to be a big dick joke on everybody. I'm even madder now that I've connected those dots. He basically tells you that's what Mr. Purple is. Oh my God, it's so stupid. He first encounters him in the bathroom. And I don't care. You know what? I don't care if this is a spoiler. I really don't. If you're worried about spoilers, just do this, and I'll do a wave when the spoiler's done. The climax of the story takes place in a bathroom. Oh, okay. So it's all safe. So that was me giving the all clear that spoilers over. Oh man, I was totally pranked. This is a whole prank. if this is not on the conscious level of our friend our distinguished friend W.H. Shizmar, which is, I think, how probably New England douchebags, not everybody in New England's a douchebag, but, those Mayflower douchebags would say, Shizmar, they do get the jaw, the whole cliche of the wasps, those puritanical douchebags, W.H. Shizmar. If it's not on the conscious level, then this guy has some fixation that he's working out in print. Now that I think about it, what's a lighthouse? What is a lighthouse? Billy, is there something you need to discuss with a therapist before you can write decent non-phallic fiction? Because go see to it, my friend. Go see to it. I'm sure your dad can find some chapbooks, some PC copies of a lettered edition of a long sold out CD title to get you a couple hours with somebody who can get that dick out of your head. Oh, wow. See, this is why you come to the Monday Night Lives. If I had scripted this in my review and realized this, it would have come out really kind of watered down and maybe a little bit lukewarm room temperature, but this is hot out the oven. Oh man, this guy, I think I'm working through these stages right here live. I think now I've gone beyond acceptance to I actually like this chapbook now. It's a guy alone at his computer too. Where are all these places? Where are all these spaces that men occupy with Mr. Purple? When he's by himself with his computer, when he's in the bathroom. Another young man experiences Mr. Purple. What's your personal hygiene like, young man? The one thing is wash your hands once you're done playing with Mr. Purple. Oh man, I think a college course needs to be taught on this as a window into the male hidden psyche. All right. So if you need to find value in this book, ladies, if there are ladies that are interested in learning about the cesspool of a young adult's brain, there you go. There you go. Right there. It's Exhibit A. Mr. Purple. Oh, I'm never gonna not think of the Mr. Purple. I'm gonna sign my Mr. Purple. Also, the signature sheets for Mr. Purple. Ugh. Ugh. Wow. You can't touch that chapbook unless you have gloves on now. What are the comments saying? I need to get back to the comments. Okay. I actually think Sleeping Beauty's handled well and altered for the format could make a really cool movie. Yeah, maybe. I think so. Hey, Jeff, you have a hair. Thank you. Just realized it was Monday. Did I miss any rants? I don't think so. I think I was well into it. Yeah, what you said, Hans, there. The chapbook is nice. The art is nice. The envelope is nice, too. The words just suck. Press W to move. Yes, he's beta testing the game, but damn it, the developers made the people solid as walls, so his character can't advance when he's in line. And Mr. Purple, who's very, very tall, when he stands erect, is coming through. Well, man, I'm just stepping in it all over. I'm not going to. I'm working on a few chapbooks ideas. 3 of them, in fact. Nice. Well, I hope you do what do better than this. I think you would. I keep thinking of the kids' book, Harold and his purple crayon. Yeah, I think, purple crayon. I at one point, at one point, the main character is handed a purple Sharpie. Yeah. So Baby Chiz is a genius. Maybe. Mr. Purple is Billy's dad. I Baby Chiz may be a genius. He did a whole thing and he's laughing. He's laughing at everybody. And like I said, I hope he did it intentionally. Now I'm hoping he did it intentionally. Which is exactly what a spoiled brat of privilege would do. I might have to do a new video to add that, an addendum on that review to say an analysis, a thoughtful analysis of Chismar's Mr. Purple. And I might have to, not monetize that video because I won't be able to monetize that video if I'm going to be totally honest. I was about to use the same line, only sometimes a purple man is just a purple man. But it did not anyone think would anyone get a joke. Sometimes a lighthouse is just a lighthouse. Oh, not in this case. No, in this case, Billy is, yeah, but can't talk it too much, Mr. Jeffing off. So Jeffing off was meant to be effing off. You're just effing around. That's what it was. Didn't really work. Okay. Okay. It sounds terrible. So I changed it to the Jeff word. So like the F word, that's all it was. But yes. Can we take a break from the rants long enough to say, huzzah, producer Jill? Oh, she's going to love that right in this moment. Huzzah. She says, thank you. Question asked in Books of Horror. What is the first splatterpunk? And is it off season? I saw that question. I wouldn't know. I'm not a horror historian. It was for splatterpunk. No, you could Google it. See, let me Google that for you. The autopsy. Many sources claim the first splatterpunk story, the proto splatterpunk story, is The Autopsy by Michael Shea, published in 1980 and anthologized several times since. This tale deals with a coroner called in to examine the bodies of miners killed in a strange explosion. That's what it is. And then, yeah, okay. So I was going to say Richard Lehman because a lot of people think he is one of the undisputed masters of the splatterpunk genre, Richard Lehman. So yes, that's right there. If that person, instead of typing that into the Books of Horror, typed it into a Google search, they would have gotten that. But I would like to. I still think it's a worthy discussion to see what other people think of. Like, oh no, I read Michael Shea, but before I read that, I read this. Billy Chismar wrote a splatterpunk novel before he was born, decades before. Oh, story. But the question is novel. Excellent. I was thinking Raymond's The Cellar and Light at the End by John Skip and Spector. Gosh, Centipede did Autopsy, didn't they? Winner, winner, chicken dinner to Christopher Bowers. Oh, well, because I wrote first splatterpunk novel and they gave me The Autopsy. And then is Jack Ketchum splatterpunk? Are you kidding me? Of course he's splatterpunk. How is that even a question? Google should have banned that person's account for asking a question like that. Um, so we talked about the first thing on the list, and it's 45 minutes later. I'm done talking about Mr. Purple. 7-second delay, because I think if I had said the joke I was thinking of, then I would have heard a groan from the other room, and it would have just took me off my game. What does AC/DC think? Bon Scott. I'm on a Bon Scott kick. Bon Scott. Like, you can't describe a rose, like Shakespeare said. Bon Scott. How do you just define Bon Scott? Bon Scott, genius, master, vocalist. I'm on a Bon Scott kick. Another idea was The Rats by James Herbert, or The Manitou. Yeah. Both fun books. What makes a book splatterpunk? I think that it's the gore, it's the detailed sort of, there's cyberpunk, which is like geeking out over technology and showing like how technology can be abused, misused, but also it's just the geeking out about it. So splatterpunk is like, what if we really went in on this gore? At least that's how I've seen it in my brain. What if, instead of just saying, like, if you've read Psycho, if you haven't read Psycho, I'm going to say something, but well, let me just say, in Psycho, there's a murder that happens, and it's just like one line, it's just like, and it doesn't even happen in the movie the same way. It was like she was beheaded, or she took, yeah. I mean, it's basically, but in a splatterpunk book, it's like you're gonna get the cannibals outside the cabin field dressing the friend from inside the cabin that's off season. So it's really graphic, brutal. At the time, I was thinking the willingness to go too far and keep going. Interesting. Splatterpunk as a term wasn't coined until 86 by David Shaw at a horror con. Shay's The Autopsy was early 80s, so at best, it'd be reflective before the fact inclusion. But I think there are those works that plant the seed. It's an arms race always. Some author, like today we have extreme horror. It's not even called splatterpunk. But you got the seed planted. All art is iterative. It's all an ingestion. It's all based on what you've ingested as a human being in your life, and then what you produce. What's the product of that? What did those things inspire in you that are different and noteworthy that you then shared? So it's all iterative. And if Michael Shea's Autopsy planted a seed that didn't really come to bloom until the late 80s, then I think that's still fair to say that's the genesis. That's the spark. He lit the fuse. He created this sort of, he went this far, and now every author is going to go a little further and a little further, and it's going to become this, again, like an arms race. And hopefully it's not just for the gratuitous sake of shock. It's like, I'm trying to elevate the art. I'm trying to take it to a new place that other people just haven't gone before. I wanted them to go there. And when I read this, and I'm like, what if we went just a little further and tested the boundaries? Or I like that story. I think it needs to be told in a fresh way. So hopefully this escalation is improving the art, shaping it for future readers, like wonderful Billy Chiz. So that, yeah, I think that, now we have extreme horror, which pushes that boundary. Like our friend Chris Webster is reading Groomer, and he sent me in a text something that happens in that book. And I'm like, I can't even fathom reading that. I read the text describing, just telling me what happens in the book. Now, I don't know how wonderfully it's captured, how artfully it's portrayed, or how viscerally it's delivered, but just reading what happens, I don't even know. So that escalation can lead to dead ends, maybe. You got Dead Inside, which the author for that was at NeoCon or some convention, and he did a reading, or he did some performance that just took everybody out. Like, people are like, this guy needs to be banned. He needs to be publicly shamed. He just went, but in his perspective, he's like, this is what you've been asking for. You say, shock me, terrify me, gross me out, take all the taboos out, and let's really have every weapon at our disposal. And then people are like, no, this is a war crime. Well, you can't say that when you're doing this escalation. You want to be king of the mountain, king of the hill. I ordered 3 Zoller books. I got to read that. In order for a term to be coined, its subject had to exist so it can be named. There you go. I still haven't read The Mean Business on North Gaston Street, because I'm now currently, oh my God, I'm currently reading this again. Yeah, I'm going back to the farm. This is like a turning point in the book. In many ways, for me, is my recollection is that Peter's going back to the farm. So shit's about to go south, big time. I mean, it kind of already did. A lot's happened in those pages. Love this book. Happy release day to Philip Fracassi. Early release day. It's going to be, if you're Billy Chismart's, premature release day. Because tomorrow this book is unleashed upon the world. Boys in the Valley, release day, July 11th, 2023. Awesome stuff. And you need to get it if you haven't. Check out Sin's Book Nook. She talks about this book, the best book she's read all year. Damn. She's awesome. You should sub if you haven't. And you should read this. You must. It's like you kind of have to. You kind of have to at this point. If you're watching this, you kind of have to. I don't know what happens with the comments. I think sometimes they like repopulate. So is Blood Meridian a splatter Western? Excellent question. I don't know. Splatterpunk, as the term suggests, transgressive horror that touches on social problems by pushing boundaries of what came before. Violence, sex, grew. That's some good reading. Anyone read Tender as the Flesh? Any good? If so, Tender as the Flesh was a decent story. Now, that's one of those buzzy books that have been lighting up books of horror, just like this one. Everybody was talking about it. I'm like, I've got to read this book. Winterset Hollow, Jonathan Edward Durham. To be honest, Hans, I'm sorry, but when things are like buzzy in books of horror, sometimes, like I said before, I shun them. And upon further reflection, of course, everybody's talking about this could be a Suntup book. I mean, I think that's quite did it before with Anya Alborn. Suntup to do something this new and this fresh. But I read the premise and I kept getting pulled back to it. I almost bought it when it was just a big buzzy book on books of horror. And I think all the recent chatter knocked me off of that ledge. So I'm definitely going to read this soonish. I'm reading Boys in the Valley now. And Just letting those things drip in through my ocular orbs. Thanks. I'll wait for a sale price then on Kindle to get it. Tender is the flesh. Oh, take the pain away of the Billy Chiz. Take the pain away. So, okay. So on my CD rant where I talked about their godforsaken, that rant I posted Saturday when they sent that email, I'm like, all right, I'm always ranting about it. Now I have this little piece of evidence. And I don't know if I really made the case in that video. I think it's like, as a customer, if you've got this and it doesn't say anything about the value of the book, then, hey, do you know I'm a customer? I'm not an employee. I'm not somebody who signed up to be on your street team to promote your ass. Like, you've got to earn my stars there, buddy. If you're Canadian and you want to have words with somebody and you really want to get them, you call them buddy. I am promoting your book, buddy, and it all depends on how you deliver that. Because even you can't be mean in Canada. So you got to say like a term of endearment as forcefully as possible, so they know you mean business, pal. See, you call him pal too, buddy, chum. But we're not your employees. Like, get this book, and I'll send you another book. What if the person busted their ass promoting your goddamn Chasing the Boogeyman, and now you're telling them, you bought Chasing the Boogeyman to get some stupid goddamn Gwendy book, and then you read the book Chasing the Boogeyman, you were sorely disappointed, and then he's sending you this, hey, by becoming the Boogeyman, and I'll send you another Chasing the Boogeyman or another Gwendy book. It's like, no, this isn't prison. You're not buying my love with cigarettes. Your books suck. And you're going to bribe me with more of it. That's like the height of disrespect. But producer Jill thought I was pulling punches. Because, sometimes when I do these rants, I'm like, okay, it's not a cancer diagnosis, right? My house didn't burn down. It's like, you put in perspective, and all things considered, waiting a long time on a book is all right. It's not like the tree didn't fall on your house. But on the other hand, screw Chismar. I mean, who the hell does he think he is? What an asshole, and so on. But I was not pulling punches. I was just trying to be I was just trying to make the case. Like, this email came through and it says everything you need to know. And there are people that say, like, well, what's the big deal? It's just a long wait. And those people are assholes. Dang, there goes my signal. I'm out, folks. Oh, come on now. Sorry, take it easy, Christopher. I hear good. No sound. What's no sound? You're not hearing anything? Tell us how you really feel, Jeff. How did Chizzy Boy get his start? His stuff's... Huh? No. Can you hear? Restart your thing. Who can... Flash says he can't hear. Han says he hears good, according to the message. Hi, Russell. Good to see you. Ron can hear. I don't know. Maybe reboot. Refresh your screen. I'm sorry. Russell, happy Monday. Can't wait to see you so soon, Russ. So soon. So soon. I restarted and you came back. Okay. You cut out talking about winter set for me, but all good now. I can hear too. Okay, sounds fine, says Mark. Okay. Thank you guys for, doing that sound check for me. I'm going in blind, and Patty can hear me. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, I'm going to read Winter Set. And then I think if you watch on the replay that part, you'll see, you'll hear it. So I really don't know where you dropped off. It's all a blur to me. It's all a blur. So Nathan, how did Chizzy Boy get his start? His stuff seems tacky to me. If you're talking about Mr. Purple, I don't know what else you've read by him. The only thing else I've read was Widow's Point, but he got his start because his daddy's a horror publisher. That's it. I mean, it's like, I thought it was endearing when Richard Chismar would share all of his son's lacrosse photos. His son, oh, I'm proud of my boy. That's nice. You want a dad to be proud of his kid. I don't think necessarily you need to be sharing that all over Facebook. I don't like putting my kids out there on Facebook. I don't like that. I think it's good to be proud of them and tell them you're proud of them and listen to them and all that. But putting it out there on Facebook now, that but it was endearing. I thought, okay, this guy cares about his family, but now he's like, here, just you're a published author now. People dream of that moment of becoming a published author. They work, they face rejection after rejection, after all this heartache and headache and personal, nobody's more invested in a story than an author. And they slave for so long to get that spotlight, and it's just handed to this kid who didn't deserve it, not even for 5 minutes, because he could have been a prodigy, he could have been spectacular, and it could have been wonderful, a wonderful experience reading that. And I'd be more than happy to say I'm a Chismar fan, not a Richard Chismar fan, but a Billy Chismar fan. But yeah, he just got his start via nepotism. Yeah. So that's it. Jeff, time to play fortune teller. What will be the state of every limited publisher in your library come 2033? Wow. Well, in my library, I have Cemetery Dance. They will not be around in 2033. No way. In 10 years? Damn. God, I couldn't even predict. I think Cemetery Dance will be long gone by 2033. I think Levidian will exist in some form. I just can't imagine. I think I worry about Suntup flying too high. I think my 5. I think Centipede Press will still. No, I think Jared might retire. So I don't think he'll flame out in the fact of going out of business. He's got a solid business going. He does well by his customers, and he publishes things people want to read. So I think Centipede. I think Jared will retire though. I think Paul Miller will still be going. I think SST will still be going. And I think Brian James Freeman will still be going. Suntop could. It's a hard thing to weather, though. If there is a recession, if there is a major downturn in the economy. So what I think SST and Earthling have going for them, they are right in a night. They're flying at a nice altitude where they have very affordable editions, but great for the price, great value, right? Suntop is flying very high, and it's a very small world, this small publishing in indie publisher world. It's a very small pool. And at that high end, there's a sliver of that population that will do that for an extended period of time. And you need to get in new customers, and you have to have people that play relief to that. And you have to pick titles that get it, It's a very tricky thing to predict. In 5 years, Suntop will still be here for sure, I think. Just 10 years, it's huge. So many go out, so many go out. Gotta respect Joe Hill for trying to do it without the King name until he was outed by others after his first book or two. Right, but he can write. Like if I read Horns and I liked it a lot. I read it only because it was a Suntup book. I have a few Joe Hill books in my library, um, and I respect him on his own merits. He's got a following. He seems to have that talent. Whether it's nature, nurture, or whatever, he's got it, and so he earned it. He again got his chance and made use of it. Billy got his chance and gave us a dick joke. When I learned that about Joe Hill, my respect for him went up a couple of notches. Yeah. For some anecdotal evidence, I have personally stopped purchasing Suntup editions because of COL, cost of living increases. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's hard. And so like Suntup needs to have like 2,000 regular customers, 3,000 who dip in and out and get the books, you know? But you see their titles like Outsiders, for some reason, Stepford Wives. That one I don't understand. I could understand Outsiders for the pool that Suntup is in, but I think and I shared my interviews about S.E. Hinton, about the Outsiders, on an S.E. Hinton Facebook group. So you would think they would want that because it's such a emotional read for people of a certain age. So anyway, it's just unfortunate that that was a miss. Amityville Horror was a miss. For now, not saying it won't sell out eventually, but he needs to have like this stable of 2,000 regulars to come in constantly and trade off and start to dip in and out buying the books. But it's going to be harder and harder to find those 250, 350 solid buy every book customers. You know what I mean? For a while he did. He had it, and he had all the people waiting on the outside dipping in and out. But it's just a different game now. These are just my opinions. I'm not a publisher, so I don't know exactly what everybody's facing. And I know Paul Suntup's facing his personal, from his purview, and he's got to keep the lights on. He's got to do things to fund the books he's got under contract. You get a book under contract, you start the process, you line up the materials. That's an outlay of money. So he needs to sell a new book to keep that cash infusion going. I honestly, and just my opinion, I know he probably doesn't like hearing this, but I think if he just dipped, when instead of doing 12 books a year, did 10, just dip out a little bit. Don't exhaust that customer base. It's just my opinion. Please talk to your financial advisor or your doctor. I'm neither. I think Suntup should slow down a bit, maybe 6 books a year. Well, see, now you're going in half. I wouldn't even go that far. 8 to 12. I wouldn't dip to 6, but it can be a lot. And I think taking artist editions out of it for some of those releases would help. It would drive demand just to that one's, those 2 editions. Just my opinion. Same except for The Fireman. I think Joe Hill's an excellent writer. I love all his stuff. Yeah. I thought Outsiders was a great choice. That was one Suntup releases I was most jazzed about. And see, so it does hit, it does hit a certain group. And I'm kind of surprised that there aren't enough S.E. Hinton fans out there. It was a big book when I was young. And you think by now those people have earned an income and they have some disposable cash and they want those nostalgic reads in a very amped up, beautiful production. So I would think that would be prime. Like that fruit is ripe. So that made sense. It just didn't translate into sales. Glad that Psycho sold out. Yeah, me too. It was a great pick. It's a great read and culturally significant. Now, I think that Amityville was a nostalgic read for a lot of people, but it's a controversial book. It's like basically a haunted house hoax. It's a tabloid story in novel length. It's the only book Jay Anson wrote. So there's a lot of gaps, a lot of places where customers could fall through, and that's how it happened. Now, I'm not saying nobody's going to clean that up. There will come somebody who's a Suntup fan, future, and they got stuff in the back catalog, or discovering it. But I think Paul's got to try to keep those things to a minimum. Because AE inventory in the warehouse is one thing. Numbered edition inventory in the warehouse is another. Do you have any insight to how Paul chooses which book to publish outside of his survey? No, I don't. I think some of them are personal reads, like Replay, Bridges of Madison County, the poetry book. Paul was a poet and he was active in the poetry scene. So there are some books that are in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that are very personal to him. And I think there are some that he's like, I'm going with demand. He did Butcher Boy based solely on me driving that book. And that's not a brag. That's not a flex, as the kids say. He basically told me that in an email, and I felt horrible. I really did. But I believe in that book. I love that book. It's an acclaimed book. It won prizes. It became Academy Award nominated film. I don't think it won, but it's an amazing book, and it totally deserved it. So no apologies there. I just felt like I was just so touched that he did that. So he does the surveys and he listens. He keeps his finger on the pulse of demand, and then he does pepper in his personal reads. Like he went after Pillars of the Earth just because that's his number one book, and Replay was also one he held in high regard. So I totally respect that. As an artist, because I definitely think what he's doing is an art. He's doing these fine press books. He's trying to create them in a new incarnation that's totally honoring the work. And I respect that as an artist. He's going after those things he believes in. Do I think he believed in Anya Alborn? No. I think he was trying to get a young, new author, a buzzy author. And those two books, Seed and Brother, were amazing picks. If you see her, I still haven't finished reading it. I'm going to read it when I get it my Suntup numbered. But same thing with Keelan Patrick Burke. I don't know how he, really, you could tell when the book is personal to him and when it's something that he heard that people wanted and he went after it and got it. He also wrote 666. Okay. Jay Anson, I didn't know that. The Outsider art is the reason I still haven't gotten it. Jeff Echevarria, I love his stuff. Did you see he sent me a remark? I got a remark from him. It's amazing. Watch that video. But art is subjective. I'm not here to convince you that your opinion is wrong. Trust me. I hear you. But I happen to think it was awesome. I was very excited for The Outsiders because it's Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Mitch is a Tulsa boy. That's how they say it in Tulsa. They like serve the word up to you and then they take it away real fast. Tulsa boy. Okay, so he wrote 666. Okay, I didn't know that. Paul should stick to the books and excuses And because anyway, I'm curious about what the next Sun Tup will be. I'm interested in Winterset and Last Unicorn, if those are correct guesses. Well, I know what the next book will be. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not even going to. I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to. I don't. I may interview somebody. I may interview the artist for the book, but it doesn't look like it's lining up. I don't think our schedules match. I am interviewing. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm trying. I don't have a set thing with the August author. I don't have a set thing. Same. I'm hoping I can get a numbered Last Unicorn. Well, I think if you jump on the train in July and stay on till August, I don't know if September. I don't know if September is the Last Unicorn. I don't know. Butcher Boy numbered sold out and only a few AEs remain. I know. And I was glad it did, but the AE, the numbered edition goes for pennies on the secondary market. It's a shame. Butcher Boy numbered. You can get it for cheap. It's just, I don't know. It's a brilliant book. And it's literature, I mean, it's deserving of the treatment it got. Would have been great if it was letterpress. Oh, yup. I was devastated to have to pass in The Outsiders, especially considering I had asked for it on every survey. Okay, Steven, you don't have to pass on it. You don't. You could take care of Steven. And yes, the money goes to somebody that you have a disagreement with, but you get the book. You don't have to be devastated. You are the barrier to your happiness. Until you mentioned it, I didn't realize Amityville Horror was such a slow seller. Just checked and still 89. Yeah, yikes. The AE quantity isn't showing. Yeah, it just was not. Everybody seemed to be jazzed about Amityville when they thought that was the book, and then it was the book. And so I thought Amityville was going to slam bang out. A lot of people were like, I really wanted it. When Paul wore that Amityville Horror shirt on one of his lives, people were like, oh, I hope to God you do that book. Do that book. And there seemed to be such great affinity. I'm sure that blindsided Paul. Because he's like, I probably got a solid quarter, Amityville, Psycho. These are going to be blockbuster titles. What was the other book? I got to look. In that quarter. So, Legion, Amityville, and Psycho. You're like, oh my God, that's a solid quarter of horror. Classic, brought to you by the masters. And, well, I don't know if Jay Anson's considered a master, but you know what I'm saying? It's like these are iconic, iconic horror classics. And Amityville's sitting there. So, the first 250 tend to sell out. I'm glad he dropped down to that number just to keep going and have more in the warehouse. Yeah. Tulsa boy, like you're slapping the word into the listener's ear. Tulsa boy. They're never going to forget it now. Yeah, don't say who you interview. I'm not. Just got audio back. Number one. She's got enough of me. She's like, put you on pause. Speaking only about the AE, since it's all I own, I think the most striking visually is Jaws. I don't know how anyone who loves physical books as an art form could not want that book. Yeah, it is beautiful. It's oversized. It's gorgeous. I picked up an Amityville AE. Felt like a nice companion piece to The Omen. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The extra sounded kind of cool, too. Not expecting much from the novel proper, though. Yeah. I mean, it was an eye opener for me when I interviewed Eric Walter and really sort of got into the lore of Amityville and really kind of I saw my Amityville Horror, the documentary that Eric Walter did, and I just, you know, it was a hoax perpetrated on America, or the world. To what effect? Like, you damaged these children for the rest of their lives. Hope it was worth it, asshole. I mean, really, George Lutz is an asshole to do that to his kids, his adopted kids, his stepchildren. That's disgusting. And so, like, Jay Anson wrote the book, and it's just disgusting all the way around that what they did. But as a creepy horror story, it works. If you remove the history from the book, it's a scary read. So I recommend anybody who wants to read it. But in knowing George Lutz won't profit any longer. That Jaws AE is awesome. I was so excited to get that book. So many cool details. It was awesome. I spend with my beliefs, man. Sorry. And that's fine, Stephen Dwayne Allison Jr. If you believe that The Outsiders was worth having, is what I was going for. Don't make yourself a martyr over, something that could bring you joy for many years. That's my take on it, But I understand. You had words. You're upset. For me, the turn off was that they were books made famous by movie adaptations. I'm more about literary fiction, like Butcher Boy. Would love more like that. Yeah, I think it is surprising, but I kind of love it. Like, I understand, like, fine press has a heft to it. It has a regalness to it. And you're like, significant things about significant works of the human condition and of importance and things like that deserve this level. And I agree. But I like it that it's like these are the things that move the hearts. These are the stories that sort of shaped culture. Not sort of, that shaped culture. Jaws, Omen, Amityville Horror, Psycho. Just to name a few of the books, Rosemary's Baby. These are all in the cultural DNA, and they have a place. And it's like, I like that the VIP lounge was rated, and we're showing that, yes, moving the mind, moving the collective zeitgeist is one thing, but moving the heart, moving what people were shaped by is another as well. So, and there are some books that you can say haven't earned that in either regard. But I think it's all up to the reader to decide what was worthy. I have the first like 50 numbered editions. I forgot how many I had, but I had all the way up to and including Legion, and then boom, Amityville. I hopped off. I didn't get Psycho. So I don't regret a single one of them. I think they are all worthy. Well, maybe one. Maybe I didn't finish If You See Her. Maybe that book ends on a different note. Just being honest. Honestly, though, they weren't his kids. Just saying. I'm reading my Suntop War of the Worlds right now. Yeah, I got to read that one. I've never read it. I read my Suntop Time Machine, and I think Timothy Harding made those editions the masterpieces there, all that extra content, all that hardcore research that went into those. Amazing stuff. But I've been meaning to read my War of the Worlds. I take solace in my first edition. Fair enough, Stephen Dwayne Nelson Jr., and I respect your take on that. I do. What else do we have to talk about? Happy release day to Philip Fracassi. Much deserved. Philip Fracassi was going to bring me a keg in the trunk of his car. A keg. But I can't afford a kegerator, Mitch. I looked it up today. $800 for a kegerator. Oh, $800? Come on, it's a fridge with a tap. I could probably make one. I'll go buy a mini fridge on Facebook Marketplace, and I'll just drill a hole through the top, and I'll put a tap through it. Actually, I'm going to do that. No, I'm not. You know I'm not. Because it'll say, local Tennessee man burns his house to the ground trying to create a kegerator. And then it'll have to be a book about a guy who burns to death making a kegerator, and then he comes back as a ghoul, and it's going to be called The Kegerator. My Fracassi is on its way. Yes, I have a few Fracassis on the way. Yes, I do. A couple, including the UK edition. But you can get a used one for $200 max. I don't think so. I looked. Chad's here. Chad Lutsky's here. Kegerator on the porch. I got mine for free. Jill, Mitch got a free kegerator. Because he's Mitch. He's a Tulsa boy. I know that's getting worse every time I do it. So SST, if you're a newsletter subscriber, just join a homebrew group. People sell them all the time. Okay, I'll look. Kegerators are the best. Ah, damn it. Now I feel like I'm going down a whole other thing. Look for a failing bar and see if they can give you a deal. You guys got all the hacks. To be fair, I just looked today. Like I just looked for 5 minutes. SST. Mitch probably won his. He won in a YouTube giveaway. SST, Paul Bear's Club. They're doing it. Move to Tulsa, become a Tulsa boy, get free kegerator, then move back to Tennessee. Boom. That's how you do it. Maybe I could trade my number to Outsiders for a kegerator. That's what I'll do. I'll go to Tulsa. I'll say, hey, I got a signed SE Hinton Outsiders. Boom. Kegerator in the car. So Paul Bear's Club and Daphne is at the printer. There's barely any Paul Bear Club copies left. Ron bought them all up. Yeah, go get it. Go get it. Newsletter subscriber. He released it, announced it. It's going to look beautiful if you have all the other Tremblay books. So hit it up. Get on it. Get up in it. Mr. Purple. No, I saved them all for others. It's funny. And then Daphne's at the printer. Get Daphne. I'm getting Daphne. I got Daphne's going to come to the house. I don't know if she'll be with Velma and Scooby, but whatever. So Centipede Press, Tokyo Doll next week. That's a John McPartland story. And then We Have Always Lived in the Castle. And on the 23rd. Now, is that White Castle? We Have Always Lived in the White Castle? About people that got trapped in a White Castles and needed to eat steamed meat to live? I probably should. I've loved everything else of his. Yeah, I only read 2 of his. And that, Cabin at the End of the World, which I thought was brilliant, and Head Full of Ghosts, which I thought was brilliant. So next up is Disappearance at Devil's Rock. If I can meander my way to a new Tremblay. What else? Oh, Subpress came out with a newsletter. There's a new James S.A. Corey book. It's sold out At $125, by the time I clicked on it, it was sold out. Not that I was going to buy it, but he did the Expanse trilogy or whatever it is. I don't know. It has no interior art. $125 and no interior art. That's not a good look. But you know what? It's sold out. So who's laughing? I just, there's beautiful dust jacket art, but come on. All three of those Tremblay books are Bram Stoker Award winner nominees. Devil's Rock is better than Cabin. Pallbearers is better than Devil's Rock. Wow. Well, that makes me feel good. I got a lot of nice, juicy Tremblay to look forward to. I got to read Disappearance at Devil's Rock, Growing Things, Survivor's Song, Pallbearers Club. What else? Did I name them all? Oh, and then the narcoleptic detective books, No Sleep to Wonderland and The Little Sleep. Survivor Song was some fantastic. Welcome back, Pizza Draft. Sub Press doesn't do any interior art anymore. That's just bullshit, I mean, in my opinion, I just don't want that. I don't want to pay if you're $125, you can get like 3 or 4 signed trade editions that also have no interior art, hardcovers. It just doesn't, that's not why we're here, my man. That's not why we're here. Yeah, I regret Brian Hail Mary because it didn't have any interior art. Also, my opinion. You should do a book review of The Reek of the Titanic. It's a really good book. Okay, thank you for the. I will. I know he's back, but I was, trying to let him recover. Where does M. Night Shyamalan's Ding Dong rate for you on Cabin? I saw the first part of it, and it adhered to the story really well. I think Dave Bautista, did a good job. But I didn't watch the whole thing. Hail Mary was even worse. It was 225, 250. Again, no. Oh, that's awful. Tremblay is a. Oh, excuse me. I would edit that out if this was a video, but it's live. Tremblay is another author that is yet to disappoint me. I have his new book coming Thursday. Nice. Yeah, that's The Beast You Are, his collection. Cool. And Mark, Jill and I wish you a speedy recovery, Mark. Glad to see you're back. Glad to see you keeping up with the conversation. You said it was difficult to type. So glad to see you here. I hope you're okay. When are you interviewing Clive Barker, David Malchowski? Thank you for being here. Oh, that would be awesome. I met him once. I didn't say anything to him, though. He sat in a chair. I got my photo taken with him. And then I was like, oh, I would love to. I may or may not have been contacted last month about a double-lettered hardcover of How the Skin Sheds. DJ with Blood Red. Oh, Chad. But don't be a fool, Jeff. If it's between me or McCammon, get the McCammon. Oh, man. That would be awesome. How the Skin Sheds. Oh. Seriously, guys, if you've not read How the Skin Sheds. Oh, happy birthday to Mike Hughes. Happy birthday. I meant to say that. So, Mike, you're not here tonight. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to soil my birthday with me. But I soil every day with me. So, what can I do? But happy birthday, Mike. If you, deign to watch this on the repeat, happy birthday. Yeah, Mark, speedy recovery. I loved Cabin at the End of the World. Need to watch the movie. The second half of the movie veers off wildly from the book. Well, I'm glad I stopped. Tremblay is the king of ambiguous endings, and the movie leaves nothing for the viewer to decide for themselves. That's bullshit. That totally guts the spirit of the book. The book, you read the book, and at the end, you decide based on the evidence given to that point. Hail Mary was 185, still too much. I'll sell mine after I'll sell mine after I read it once. I second McCammon all day long. The reek of the Titanic protected by the sinkage of the Titanic. Nice. The movie is good, but utterly destroys the entire feeling of the book by changing the ending. Damn it. Oh. See, I don't know if I want to finish watching it now. But speaking of Gone South, I got a copy of Gone South. So it's all good, Chad. I have Cannibal Creator, the lettered edition, and I have a first edition, first printing of Gone South for $2.95. So I have it. I have it now. It's not the Levidian. And it pains me to see all those people holding up their little babies with pride. And I have this ancient baby. It's a little sway, so you can see it's a little damaged. You know, I can maybe fix it though. I'll fix it. I'll put it in the paperback hospital and I'll straighten it out. But I got Gone South, Chad. So I made it all good. $2.50. Again, first edition. That's Sasha. Spoiler alert, he was dead the entire time. I'm the good twin. You're right. Okay, 185 makes me feel a little better. A little. Spoiler. Oh, and the art gives away yeah. I'll make a video about the Titanic thing and tag you in it so I can explain it. That'd be cool. And don't let Mitch sway you. You're the evil twin. You do what you're going to do. Don't listen to that good twin. That Tulsa boy. Maybe if I could edit in like a slap sound. Okay, I'm getting the look. She's got the look. Sure do be cooking in my book. So, there's a bug on that curtain over there. Is that a tick? It's on a curtain. I'll get it. All right, Jeff Heads, is my last night of my vacay, so I'm going to go live it up and drink some drinks. Peace out. Oh, Mitch, I'm sorry you had to waste your last night of vacay here. Glad you did, though. I'll get a kegerator somehow. I'll just break into a TGI Fridays or something. Enjoy your vacation, Mitch. Glad you spent some of the time with us. Speaking of moody adaptations, the movie version of We Have Always Lived in the Castle from a few years ago is pretty solid. Reduces some of the strangeness of the book, but still good. Nice. Enjoy the rest of the vacation, Mitchell. Tell your folks that there is no bedtime while on vacation. I'm not tired. Put on the Teletubbies. Is Mr. Purple a Teletubby? I can't believe the epiphany that you all witnessed tonight with this book. We were trolled, epically trolled, with a one-eyed Mr. Purple. Epic. I have to clap. Well done. I wish I had thought of it first. It was really well done. Oh, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Maybe I'll see it. It's true. Gonna stay up all night watching this replay over and over. Oh my God, that's like a hell. I think Satan is downloading these lives so people watch them over and over again in like one circle of hell. I mean, it might not be an inner circle. I'm not that full of myself. Maybe, like how many circles of hell? 9? Maybe 8. I just wish they wouldn't have tried to insert definitive motive that was never fully expressed in the novel. Wouldn't have mattered if you had your daddy. It's not big chiz. Right. Good night, Patty. Glad you were here. I'm probably going to have to go too. It's 10:07. Man, producer Jill is pissed. She's pissed. What else did I have to talk about, Jill? Let's see. Oh, oh, and the thing about Subpress, their newsletter said about the Valancourt release. I know some people were very excited about the Grabinski. He's like the Polish Poe, the Polish Lovecraft. I don't know. Grabinski, Stefan Grabinski, Orchard of the Dead. And then they're also touting a Thornwillow Press edition of the Lottery. Now, Suntup already did that, right? So that's interesting that Thornwillow would do that. It looks beautiful, but whenever I clicked on the link for the Lottery or the Grabinski Orchard of the Dead, it came up with a 404 error message. So I don't know if their site is glitchy or if those are already sold out. I don't know what the dill is. People in Utah, instead of saying deal, they say dill. It's a Utah thing. I just learned it. I don't know what the dill is. What's the dill? And when they say financially free, they say financially free. Financially free. The Exorcist is getting a reboot. Why didn't you guys tell me about this? They're doing a October 13th, 2023. A new Exorcist is coming out. They kept the music, unless I was hoaxed. I don't know. I read Mr. Purple, so anything's possible. But it looks like they're doing a new Exorcist. That sounds cool. I would think you guys would think that's cool. And then finally, 19th edition. Does anybody know what's going on with the Gothic slipcase? I haven't heard anything from Paul Michael Caine. I've got nothing. So I was a bit confused on that blurb about Valancourt Grabinski. Valancourt's email about the release said there was no overlap with any in-print editions. The subpress said there was none with CP. I don't know. Not sure that's true. I think they said there were a bunch of stories that were not in the Masters of the Weird Tale Grabinski collection. Some people that did all the new Halloween movies. Oh, same people. Yeah. Oh, the new ones. Oh, and Hellraiser too, because it said from the director of Halloween and Hellraiser. I'm like, duh, it wasn't John Carpenter. Oh, damn it. So what, he wants to ruin all of them now? It's too late for me to start a new rant. God damn it. The new Exorcist got horrendous test screening reviews across the board. Son of a bitch. You said today the slipcases start shipping next week. Oh, really? Okay, thank you. Nothing regarding the Gothic slipcase. Anyone heard anything about the Dune cases from RJ? Oh, man. Yeah, RJ Honeykey. He fell off. I don't know what happened. He's going through some stuff. As Mitch suggests, Jeff's streams and vacations go together well. I remember listening to replay stream on a beach cabana the last time we went to Hawaii. I didn't realize I've been to Hawaii. At least my voice has. Wow. I think you could get a ticket for noise pollution if you play my podcast, my live streams in Hawaii. I think you can get cited. Maybe they won't let you there anymore. I don't know. Cases for what edition of June? I like the new Hellraiser. I did to a point. Well, you saw my review. I think there were a lot of people that hated it. But he definitely destroyed Halloween. Halloween was sacred to me. He destroyed it. Hellraiser, he didn't quite do the same thing. He did some inexplicable stuff. Like the main cast of characters, I'm like, yeah, butcher them. They're losers. I hated them. He did some interesting things, new lore, all that. So I'll forgive him for Hellraiser, but I can't. I mean, Halloween was so bad. Halloween, the Halloween from 2018 with Jamie Lee Curtis was excellent. Kills and Ends were, they not only they burnt whatever equity there was, and then they went in the reverse. Like it diminished everything. It's such a bruise. I wasn't aware of such a thing. Yeah, RJ Honeykey was doing big, beautiful wooden slipcases, tray cases. I was also strangely turned on by the new pin. Oh man, I didn't want to read that out loud. I had to pull that back, Joshua. I'm trying to save you a little bit. Trying to save you. Dinner's on. Night, everyone, and thanks as always for hosting, Jeff. I don't know why I read my own name. I didn't really need to read that part, but I did. I just went with it. I'm like Biden with a teleprompter. End of quote. But thank you for being here. Go eat your dinner. Hope it's nutritious, delicious, and a slightly suspicious. I only included that because it rhymed. It could be human meat. I'm just saying anything could be human meat. The new Hellraiser, stupid Cenobite got stuck in a gate, and that was the end of that. Oh, yeah. Chad Lutsky brings it into sharp, crystal clear focus. For me, I just wanted it, I just wanted that Hellraiser to be good. And it wasn't. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. Good night, Ron. I am going to call it a night so Joshua can go watch the new Pinhead. And it was fun. It was fun. I'm glad to think the Gothic slipcases are coming soon. I need to protect my Gothic. My Gothic is just sitting there like a stupid trade edition. And I got to put a little jacket around it. Little love. But good night, and thank you for joining me. I'll be back again next week. I hopefully will not have another Billy Chismar update. Mr. Purple. I'll be reading Boys in the Valley and other books, and I hope you all enjoy your reads. Have a great week, and let's talk books again next Monday.